All right, let me show you something, right? Let's Google vaping. Okay.
Just one word, yeah?
Here it is, right? Vaping. We'll click on the news feed. Right, 11 hours ago from The Sun. Just happens to be the first news feed, yeah? Here's what we're going to do. Let's click on it.
Oh, it's actually a new article. Okay.
It's a brand new article. I've actually never seen this one before. Okay?
Yeah, me neither.
Here's what we're going to do. Control F, THC. Here's what it says when you Control F, THC. Minnesota Department of Health announced on the same day that a patient had died in August from a lung disease associated with vaping THC, the psychoactive chemical in cannabis products. There's another THC mentioned on this page. The US FDA believes vape liquid containing THC, the psychoactive agent in cannabis, could be to blame and have issued a warning. And then another one here. Martin Dockrell, head of tobacco control at PHE, Public Health England, said a full investigation is not yet available, but we've heard reports that most of these cases were linked to people using illicit vaping fluid bought on the streets or homemade, some containing cannabis products like THC or synthetic cannabinoids like spice. Okay, so 3 matches for THC. Now, if we search vape in this article, 59 matches. So, THC, 3 matches. Anything to do with vaping, 59 matches. Okay, this could be a coincidence though, right?
What do you mean by coincidence?
It could be a coincidence. Let's go back, right? And then just click on any other random one. So the big one here, CNN, 6 hours ago.
Yep.
Okay, let's have a click and see what's going on. CNN.com, Control F.
Yeah,
right?
I just checked it.
THC.
Yeah, you're going to love this.
1 match. 1 match for THC, right? Here we go. The CDC says there are 380 confirmed and probable cases of lung disease associated with e-cigarette product use or vaping. It's not clear what's causing the illness, although some of the patients vaped THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. So that's THC, right? And then if we look at vaping in the same article, 38 matches. 38 matches to THC. Sorry, 38 matches to vaping.
Sorry, yes.
1 match to THC. And in the other article, 59 matches to vaping and 3 matches to THC.
Yep.
Right. So, I've looked into this and I've shown you some of the research that I've done. From my understanding, what's happening in every single one of these cases, and as tragic as it is that people are vaping illicit substances such as THC oil. I'm not talking about like smoking weed. I'm talking about THC oil. THC that's been extracted from a cannabis plant, put into an oil because THC can only be suspended in fat molecules. Therefore, you can't suspend it in VG and PG, right? So they're suspending it in oil and then they're putting it into vapes to then vape.
Which shouldn't be done.
Which means you're vaping oil.
Yep.
So it's the same as vaping vegetable oil. It's the same as vaping engine oil. The chemical compound of oil is what is common in all of these situations. So obviously, if you're vaping oil, it's not going to be a good scenario for you. Okay.
So I actually looked into this in the scientific, terminology. Okay. So with VG and PG, just like, your natural gases, it can actually be absorbed into your lungs, into your bloodstream. But when it comes to oil that has been sort of vaporized, your lungs can't let it absorb through the capillaries or lung walls, whatever it is. So it cannot be absorbed into your blood.
If you vape oil?
If you vape oil, yeah. So it's left in your lungs, hence these deaths. And naturally, if something can't be absorbed in your bloodstream and it's left in your lungs, then you can't get oxygen going into your blood and hence deaths, right?
So from what you're saying and from what we've researched and from everything we can find, right, what's happening here is that people are using vape products to vape things other than what has been designed to actually be vaped.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is people are forgetting a vape device is just a tool, right? If someone turns around and says, I suppose you can compare it to a knife, right? Knife, there are so many knife stabbings, but it doesn't mean you can't use a knife in a kitchen.
Absolutely.
Just because a tool can, cause a lot of harm, it doesn't mean it should never be used. Vaping is one of those devices because it's so intrusive on our bodies, isn't it? It allows substances to enter our bodies, and if you use it incorrectly, it's obviously going to cause harm. And that's what people need to understand. That's what the media obviously don't want to get across because they want to create the biggest story they can. But if we can get people to understand that vaping is just a tool, then they'll obviously see it in a different light. It's not vaping that's killing people, it's vaping X, vaping that whatever substance it is that's killing people.
I remember I did a video about spice a couple of months ago.
Yes.
Same situation. People are vaping spice, which is an illicit substance, and then there's deaths that are caused by it, and then vaping gets the blame. It is correct that they're vaping spice, but it's not the vaping bit that matters. They could be smoking spice and still achieve the same bad end result. You could be smoking THC oil and still achieving the same result. You could be inhaling the fumes off a frying pan and still achieving the same result, right? So I think it's very interesting because there's now currently a convergence. So in America, we all know that weed and cannabis and all that is legalized in a lot of America, right? Throughout the United States, there are a lot of states that have legalized cannabis. However, if you go into these medical dispensaries, what you won't find in there is THC oil that you can vape. That's just not something that you find in there. So what's happened is that drug dealers, their market has been taken away from them because what's happened is when you legalize a substance like weed, all of these dealers don't have a business anymore. So they have to look for a new and improved version of what they've been selling. So they're obviously now jumping on this vaping bandwagon as a new delivery method to deliver something which, for all intents and purposes, is now legal. So they're thinking, how can we make something that is now legal? How can we deliver it in a more exciting way, especially to youth, young people, and all these people who may think that vaping is cool and all this. That's not the argument that we're talking about here. What we're talking about is the fact that these people, these drug dealers, are taking advantage of a situation and they're putting THC into a device that is not intended to be used for that purpose. And as a result, we're getting these deaths. Let's not get it twisted. Vaping has been around at this point for well over 10, 15 years, okay? Vaping has been around for a long time at this point. I'm not saying it's been around for 50 years, 100 years, or even enough time for there to be conclusive studies about what it does or what it doesn't do, okay? But it's been around enough for us to know that these isolated incidents are something which made us really query what's going on. Okay, and it just so happens that all these incidents are in America. They're all to do with cannabis.
THC to be specific.
THC to be specific, because it's not even CBD in this instance. It's actually THC. Every single case that's been reported is to do with THC oil that is being vaped, and the media is not reporting it in the way that it should be reported. 59 mentions of vaping, 3 mentions of THC.
1 mention in the CNN report.
38 matches to vaping on the CNN report, 1 match to THC. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense.
This is one of those situations where the media is clearly trying to create a bigger story than is out there, isn't it? And unfortunately, that's going to stop a lot of smokers from switching over to vaping when, as Public Health England is stating very clearly, it does help save lives.
Yeah.
For smokers. And if you don't smoke, do not switch over to vaping. But if you do smoke, it is one of the best alternatives, isn't it?
Absolutely. We posted something earlier on the Indie Juice page.
Yes.
The tweet from
we did.
PHE, Public Health England. So this is the exact words from Public Health England. Our advice on e-cigarettes. So this is in reaction to this whole news that's going on in America. This is in direct reaction to that. Public Health England tweeted, our advice on e-cigarettes remains unchanged. Vaping isn't completely risk-free, but it's far less harmful than smoking tobacco. And this is the important bit. There is no situation where it would be better for your health to continue smoking rather than switch completely to vaping. Now, if you actually go through the Public Health England Twitter, they're mentioning in every single tweet related to this that for all intents and purposes, they're only aware of these incidents happening in America with illicit substances. That's Public Health England's take on it. And to be honest, that's our take on it as well.
The thing is, the FDA is aware of it, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They're aware that all these cases are tied to THC. It's just the media blowing things out of proportion.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is, it's not even just blowing out of proportion. What's happening in America is you've got this cannabis culture that is sort of exploded now because of the legalization. And then you've also got this e-cigarette situation that's happening because of Juul. Now, you happen to get a number of people who are cannabis users and Juul users in this current point in time in 2019. There's a handful of people who use Juul and who also use cannabis. And some of these people are trying to mix these products together. So there is a natural sort of situation that's happening now where these two products are starting to get mixed together.
Yep.
And look, it's good that we found out sooner rather than later. Obviously, it's a shame and it's a tragedy what's happened to the people who have passed away and people who are still injured by what's going on.
The thing is, if the media isn't upright about this, that it's THC.
Yeah.
Everyone who's considering vaping THC are not going to be aware of the danger.
That's 100% the reality. That's exactly it.
So the media is, in this case, actually responsible for half these deaths.
It's actually causing more harm than it is good. So they're actually dissuading from vaping. And like you said, which by the way is gonna harm a lot of people, because as Public Health England's saying, there is no possible situation where continuing smoking is going to be better for you than vaping. That's their words, not ours. And these are the experts, right? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, like you said, if the media is not reporting that it's THC induced, that these risks are THC induced, THC oil, not THC in VG and PG, THC oil, right? If they're not reporting that, then how is the public going to learn? How are people who are vaping going to be educated? How are people who are using cannabis going to be educated?
You know what should be done? You know, all of these results that we found on Google just by searching vaping.
Yeah.
It should not say vaping is killing, you know, vaping has killed. It should say vaping THC. So
absolutely.
When you edit this video, just put together simple images, which will hopefully come up now with an edit that says vaping THC has killed 7 people.
I mean,
that's what needs to be made obvious, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And this, coincidentally, is what has now led to states in America like New York pushing through this flavor ban. Right,
which is
pushing
stupid,
through the flavor ban, which is going to do what? What it's going to do, okay, is it's going to leave only tobacco flavors on the market, right?
You know what's funny? They're leaving menthol as well.
They're leaving menthol. They're leaving tobacco and menthol on the market, okay. And then what's going to happen is that these tobacco and menthol flavors, the few that remain, are going to have to undergo testing in the same way that medical devices are going to have to undergo testing, in the same way that medicines, like for example, you want to come out with a new cancer tablet, for example, you have to go through a certain amount of testing. Or you want to go through whatever it is, whatever disease it is, you want to come out with a new drug, you have to go through a certain amount of testing.
Yep.
These are now going to be categorized in the same way that these other medicines are categorized, right? And then the only companies that are going to be able to actually go through that testing are the companies that have a lot of money, like Juul, who's backed by Marlboro. So essentially, this whole outbreak of deaths has now led to this thing that results in a monopolization of the market. That's all I'm going to say about that. We think we should stop there. That's all I'm going to say about that. So there we go. So finishing thoughts on this THC situation, final thoughts?
I think there should be a massive petition requesting all of these media companies to edit all these titles to these news articles to say vaping THC has killed rather than vaping, because it's just so wrong, the message they're putting out there right now, and it will lead to more deaths if they don't teach the public of what is actually responsible for these deaths. It's not vaping, it's vaping THC.
Yeah, and let's make one thing clear as well, like the UK is chilling. Like the UK's got no problem.
Thankfully, we don't have any drug dealers or anything like that is actually selling THC oil.
Well,
right?
and in the grand scheme of things as well, like our business, right, is not going to be affected by any of this, because if anything, all of the American companies are going to want to come to the UK and they're going to use us as a fulfillment house, right? So we're not like motivated by this in terms of how our business runs. Our business is fine. According to Public Health England, nothing's going to change in the UK. This is a matter of morality.
Yep.
This is a matter of people are dying because of the words that the media's putting out.
100%.
Like, it's as simple as that.
Yep.
Right? So I agree with you. If I was Juul and I had that kind of money, right, and I was so inclined, I would actually sue the media. I would actually sue the media for what they're doing, right? Which is why when Juul doesn't take this kind of action to sue the media,
You know that, yeah, they're trying to get something out of it.
I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, if I was Juul, I would be suing the media. Like, I would be suing them for misleading the general public, right? 59 mentions, right, against 3, or 38 mentions against 1, right? I would be suing the media if I was Juul. If anyone wants to pursue that line, you know where I am, georgiaindyjuice.com. Let me know. I'm very happy to help out on that front, right? Okay. And genuinely, that's what I would be doing.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Well, let's just pray that there are no more deaths related to THC.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the way the media is still going with this, it's quite likely that there will be.
It's crazy that when you're like a kid and everything, it's rebellious to try and smoke weed. And now, because it's legal in America, it's no longer rebellious. And they have to find something more rebellious to do.
Maybe we should start an actual campaign, just like retweet this tweet to state that vaping THC is what is killing people. And just try and educate the public.
It's a good idea. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, it's worth a try, isn't it?
There we
Worth
go.
a try.
There we go. Right. Back to our pot noodles. There we go.
Thanks. Peace.